All right. Are creation and evolution scientific theories? Let's think about this for a little bit. Most of the things that can be investigated scientifically are things that we can do here in the present. For example, if someone tells you yaks have pink milk and you don't believe them, you could go get yourself a yak and you could investigate and see if indeed it has pink milk or not. If someone tells you, in a vacuum, a feather and a bowling ball fall at the same speed, and you don't believe them, you could go get a feather and a bowling ball, create a vacuum, and you could test it yourself. Because creation and evolution both have to do with things in the past, it's difficult to investigate some of those things. They're not observable. They're not repeatable. Are they testable? Well, there are some things about both of those points of view that are testable, other things maybe not so testable. And sometimes tests turn out not the way that people would prefer, and yet they may not necessarily abandon their point of view. For example, there have been many things that did not fit Darwin's initial ideas about evolution, but that probably didn't cause most evolutionists to change their mind. As the philosopher Thomas Kuhn and probably others have pointed out, scientists don't necessarily abandon a particular point of view just because it has problems. Anyway, because people sometimes say that the creation point of view is not a scientific point of view, let me point out some predictions that I think the creation view would make. One would be that the universe had a beginning. I understand from the writer Lee Spetner, I believe it was, that during the days of the steady state theory of the universe, that the universe was eternal, there was a group of Jewish scholars, I believe, that maintained, no, that can't be right. We don't believe the steady state theory because the Bible clearly indicates that the universe had a beginning, and they were probably criticized for that. Oh, you're accepting your religious view over what science tells us. You shouldn't do that. But what happened? Over the course of time, it was found out, oh, wait a minute, looks like the universe had a beginning after all. And that sort of thing has happened many times where scientists might say, such and such a thing that conflicts with this. Oh, wait a minute, now we discover this other thing. I think the creation point of view would suggest that the universe should show evidence of design. And as physicists and cosmologists have told us, the universe has a lot of remarkable properties that are difficult to explain unless you want to maintain that a designer set it up that way. Same sort of thing with regard to the Earth, that the Earth has some remarkable characteristics and features different from most other planets that we can observe. That the creation in general ought to show a combination of like marvelous beauty, like looking at the stars at night, and also ruin. Because this, of course, isn't the universe that God made. He made a perfect one, but what we live in now has been corrupted by sin and cursed. So we should see some things that look like they are no longer the way we might have hoped that they would have been. Another difference I think we could see is that the creation point of view would suggest that most features that we have probably have some sort of a function. Evolutionists have maintained, oh, there are a whole bunch of vestigial things that are left over from our evolutionary past. And yet, over the course of time, we often find, oh, wait a minute, this seems to have some function after all, like the appendix, the coccyx or tailbone, tonsils, and various other types of things as well. Same sort of thing with regard to junk DNA. I don't know if people use that term anymore, but some years ago, some maintained, oh yeah, a lot of our DNA is just junk left over from our evolutionary past, until it was discovered, oh, wait a minute, the junk DNA apparently does have functions after all. I think another prediction from the creation point of view is that there should be a marked observable difference between humans and animals. Now, of course, we know that there is a lot of genetic overlap between humans and, say, chimpanzees, which is exactly what you would expect, just like you would expect a lot of overlap between, two models of cars made by the same designer. And so really not surprising. But if we look around the animal kingdom and look at humans, I think we can see there's a qualitative difference, not just a quantitative difference between human beings and animals. Now, this, of course, does not mean that humans should treat animals and the environment in an abusive way. On the contrary, because we have been placed in charge of the environment and creation, that means that we should take care of the environment. We should be kind to animals, and we should, be a good guardian of the things that we have been entrusted with.